the nature of God is arrogance that defies the idea of what we know we are limited in thinking. That is, the average person thinks infinity is a number.
Yeah, but that makes,
go to the average person,
that makes no sense, because all the things that you're saying right now and attributes are trying to define the nature of God. Even though you don't think you are. If you're saying, so for instance, if you say,
want to put God in a box, I'm saying God
no,
exists beyond
it's the opposite. So if you say God is so complex you can't understand it, you have actually given me criteria for the nature of God. If you say God is timeless,
lack of knowledge.
Yeah, if you say God is timeless, you've given me criteria for the nature of God. If you say God exists in the 19th dimension, you have now expressed the nature of God. So what we're doing is the same exact thing. I'm expressing to you the biblical nature of God. What God expresses to us is part of his nature.
You're making an atheist argument to me.
It's not atheist.
So
it's the opposite. It's dogma.
Atheists are the ones who argue to me that
this is the most unbearable thing in the world. I'm having heart palpitations because I drank an energy drink. But this is the worst thing that's ever happened. And at this point, you kind of want to adopt a diagenic, can I say diagenic approach, where you're just like, get out of my light, dude. You know what I mean? But because of it sucks that like Andrew has to talk to this guy, or Jay Dyer has to. Like, if I was talking to this guy, I'd just either walk away or, give him an Indian burn. I'd put him in a headlock. Put him in a headlock. But you kind of like have to continue talking to someone that's like, in real life, I would just be like, I can't, just go away, dude. Just please leave me alone. I'm trying to have a nice time, and you're coming in here being Tengu. Oh, Tengu.
Universe is mathematical, logical, cold, and it is what it is. It is functions as such.
No, they're physicalists.
And Einsteinian God, which is an atheist view, is the view that God is a God of science and that exists as some form of the.
Don't I look like an actor? I should be an actor. Watch this. I'm going to just report my feelings using the medium of acting.
Universe. And then my view of God is that God exists beyond, and that our concepts of physics are just components of what God has created, and God is likely beyond our own perception and comprehension.
But you've said a bunch of things here that have entailments. God creates. So we know that for sure, right?
And in science, nothing can be created.
So if God creates and God was the first thing, then that means God was uncreated.
Yes.
Yeah, so if God was uncreated and God created, now we know something about the nature of God.
Certainly.
Yeah, so this is my whole point. And so we could say the same thing, right? Same thing here.
I think you're an atheist.
Okay, well, that makes no sense.
It's like talking to a freaking impetulant little brat. Or a petulant? Impetulant or petulant? A snotty little fart face. I think you're an atheist. This is someone who freaking got knocked out, bro. This is not. I remember this kid in school, man. I remember this kid. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what his parents did to him. But I remember him.
You're making the best case argument for atheism I've ever heard.
How?
That God is what we experience in the universe is what we would describe as God. It is the definition of everything atheists have ever argued to me.
I'm not even making arguments to you right now. All I'm doing is expressing to you
God
that
is not all powerful.
No, the opposite.
You said God can't create a boulder he cannot lift.
No, because
every single priest
do you know what
and theologian I've talked to has said the opposite.
No, none of them. Their dogma literally would prevent them from defying the nature of God. Not a single theologian on planet Earth who's a priest has ever said to you, Tim, God could create a God more powerful than him. That never happened.
No, they said
it's not possible.
To claim to understand the power of God is arrogance to assert that you know what God
I'm not
could or
saying
could
what
do.
the power of God is. I don't know exactly what the limits of all powerful are.
No, you're saying
All
that this reality is a part of God and is what it is, and it's uncontradictory and unchanging.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that the laws of logic, right? The law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, the law of excluded middle are part of the nature of God. We know this because this is how God created everything and how God expressed to us he creates. So if that is the case, we can understand that that's part of God's nature. He will not defy his nature because it's his nature. Will not defy.
The nature of God as you described it is the universe.
No, it's not the universe. The universe had a creator.
Yes, and the
that creator had to be uncreated.
And the universe is a part of God.
No, that's a Gnostic belief.
That's what you just said.
No, I didn't say that at all.
You said
it's a Gnostic belief to believe that
the
everything
logos
is
of the
parts
universe,
of
the
God.
logic, is a part of God.
No. Logic is part of God's nature. You're saying that because the universe is also governed by logical rules, that means that it's part of God. That doesn't even follow.
You said that.
No, the opposite. I'm saying the opposite of that.
So God is illogical.
No, that doesn't even make sense either. What you're saying, all these things you say, they don't follow from one another. So you have to back up to the beginning.
So you said the logos, God, the logic, God is non-contradictory.
Yeah.
What God cannot create a boulder that he himself cannot lift.
Yeah,
That is illogical.
no, because it's against his nature.
What does that mean?
It means that you can't do things which defy your nature because otherwise you wouldn't be you.
Explain his nature.
I just did. Part of his nature is the logos and the law of logic. That's part of his nature.
That cannot be changed.
Yeah, I suppose God could change his nature, but why you can't change your nature? You wouldn't change your nature.
God can't change his nature.
You wouldn't change your nature. That's the right way to phrase it. You wouldn't change your nature.
Or can he not?
Could he?
Yes.
I don't know, but I don't think it matters because your nature is what matters.
So you agree with me?
No, I don't agree with you. What you're saying is antithetical to actual dogma.
No, the beginning of the conversation was me saying that God could change the rules as he's created them, and you said he could not.
No, because the entailment of could is a violation of nature. So if it's a violation in nature and you wouldn't, you might as well say couldn't.
That's not an argument to what I just said.
It is an argument. If I can't make Tim not be Tim because Tim has a nature. Could Tim, if I gave Tim a different nature, do a different thing than his nature? Yeah, sure.
So,
what does that have to do with anything?
You think God is limited in his capability?
Well, you would have to tell me how that's limited.
God cannot affect the rules of his universe in a way that would defy your view of
Wouldn't. And if he wouldn't, then he couldn't because he wouldn't.
That is not an argument.
Well, not only is it an argument, but Tim,
you are literally saying nothing.
Tim, you couldn't fly, right? Whether or not you would fly, okay, or could fly. If you wouldn't fly, you couldn't fly, right?
You're not saying anything.
Bro, what am I not saying?
Can God do thing
that are outside the violation of his nature? He won't do them, no.
What is his nature?
Part of his nature would be logic.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is there is a logical structure to God that he cannot change.
No. Could.
And that's the most attention I'll ever give that man.